Okay, this is a door latch battery. This is the Bedini charger. Um, the Bedini charger. It's been on there for 4.5 days. I put it on there Friday evening, early in the evening. So it's been on there Saturday evening to Saturday evening, Sunday evening to Monday. Now it's like Wednesday in the wee hours in the morning. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's still charging. This is a door latch 650 amp battery. You can see that. I think it was in from 2019. It was issued sometime in 2019. This battery would not start a 3.8 liter Buick Rendezvous, even using a 100 amp boost charger from Schumacher. It would not start the car, even with the 100 amp booster on it. Um, I'm just testing to see if it's going to restore. So it's been running all this time. I think it's going to restore because when that thing turns green, when that light turns green on that charger, that's when it can't take any more charge. This thing has like a special mode in it, some kind of special desulfating mode. If the battery doesn't have any kind of damage, it usually can restore it. And this looks like it's going to do a good job, I think. We'll find out. But it's been running a heck of a long time, so I got a pretty good feeling it's going to work. I like the cheaper Renaissance Bedini charger, the one that's 4 amps versus the one that's like 10 or something like that, or I forgot if it's 6 or 4. Might be 6. I'm not sure, but it's the smaller one. It's a little less money. It's a little less money. That it works exactly the same. It's just that it takes a little longer, but to me, I think it works a little bit better because it's putting a slower charge in it. We'll see. When I got a load tester, we'll see what a load test out to. But it's going to be interesting because this brings this thing back. That makes that thing well worth the money. Now, this doesn't always work. You know, you hear a lot of these videos about they restore the batteries. They don't. This stuff doesn't always work. It works when the battery is in good condition, where, in other words, it doesn't have any cracks in it, or shorts or something like that, or completely dead cells where they're shorted out inside of a dead cell where the sulfation is that bad. If it's sulfated and it just got low voltage and it's sulfated, this type of technology can usually bring it back. We'll see. We'll see. I'm curious myself very much. It's been running a heck of a long time, so I got a good feeling it's going to work. Okay, I ran a couple of different battery chargers besides the Bedini charger, just to do a regular charge too. See what the hell we see what happens right now. So if it gets down to, like you can see on that green scale right there, it'll say weak, but you see this, like if it's like you look at the 400 and the 200, if it's around between the 400 and the 600 after 10 seconds, say 8-10 seconds, it's still good. That's not that bad. It's not full up to spec, but it's running about 400, maybe about good 400 Kroll cranking amps. The stock batteries are usually 5 to 550 or 510. That's not bad. It'll start the engine. It'll definitely start the engine. So this battery would not start the engine even on using a 200. It had both a 100 and a 200 boost, and it was put on that charger for about 30 minutes or so, and then you used the boost. It still would not start even a 3.0 liter car, just a small V6. Now it'll start even a V8, but it's not up to brand new. But still, the technology works most of the time. It's not going to get, I wouldn't trust this battery in a car long term, but say you had the car and you had a problem with the battery, you try this out with the charger, and guess what? And you look at this too. See, it came back. You try out the charger, and it came back pretty good at the resting voltage. So that's basically putting a load on it for like an 8-cylinder for about 10 seconds. So if your car starts up in 3 seconds, this would actually have multiple starts with it right now. And it had nothing, even with the boost. So does it restore it all the way? No. Does this work all the time? Definitely not, because if you got a shorted cell, it ain't going to do nothing. If the shell got so sulfated that the desulfation mode can't break loose, let's short it out. It can't. It's like solid sulfate, whatever the hell, whatever's in there. I don't know what would be called, but it's totally shorted out. The desulfation mode ain't gonna work. You might be able to put it on a manual charger and kind of boil it for a while, like a 2 or 4 ampere. You know, just boil it a while, make sure the fluids are up and everything. But you know, in an emergency, it's a good thing. I would not trust this in the car. But say you can't afford a battery, say it's like, under $120 now, this could get you by for quite a bit longer. So, the Bedini charger thing does work. And I put this Schumacher on here at 2 amps for a while because I wanted to give it a regular charge. But Bedini charger's got something in it, some kind of technology that it's doing a real deep charge. If it finds any place, and this thing ran on that Bedini charger like 6 days in a row, so it took a long time. So another one you could put on there too is this thing, the battery minder. Now this thing is actually flashing, right? That means it's doing a desulfation mode. So I pull out the plug, push it back in, and see it comes back on, and the green light will come on. It's charging again. So I like doing it like that in cycles because it's very low, 1 amp, so you can't overcharge it. And then it goes into desulfation mode after it's fully charged. But I like kind of cycling it. I got 19 years one time out of a 1-year Duralast battery using this one, and this is the cheapest one too. So some of these things work. What I found out is a regular trickle charger, it will not really work that well long term. It's got to be a desulfation mode. This thing has a desulfation mode in it. If it detects the battery's bad, it tries to bring it back. But you want something like this that goes into constant desulfation mode if you are using it long term. Another thing you can use too, without getting fancy, you get the cheapest solar panel thing that you plug into the cigarette lighter. It doesn't have anything on it that regulates the electricity, but it's so low that it doesn't need one. It can't, because it can't overcharge the battery because the solar panel is not strong enough. It's a really small one, a cheap one. Sometimes the cheap stuff is better, believe it or not. It actually is. So I'll show you one of those. All right, this is a small one. This is I don't have it. There's a connector that goes to the cigarette lighter, and this little one like this, it's not so big that you need some kind of like regulator or whatever with that keeps the battery from overcharging, because the battery can't overcharge because this thing is so small. Even if it's getting full sunlight, it's not going to do that much to it. It's probably putting like a 1/2 amp charge in or something. It's very low. But that's enough to keep that battery up, and that does a very deep charge to it. And they started using these when they had all the Humvees sitting out in the military, the trucks and stuff, and the batteries were dead. They started using these. That was the easiest, simplest way to keep them charged up. Use a little solar panel. But get the cheap ones. You don't need anything strong. Okay, I put the Schumacher charger on it. You can see 12.9 volts. This is not charging right now. This is just testing it, just showing it's 100%. Normally you look at any battery, just let it sit or try to start the car, it won't be at 100%. So maybe this load tester's, maybe it's got a good cold 500 cold cranking amps in it, who knows, because usually if you start the car one time, it ain't gonna be that high. So this thing looks like it's a solid battery again, even though it's from 2019. It was been sitting and all that and had all that problem. Now you put it on this, let's put it on a 2 amp. You see it starts charging at 13. It's going to do like a slight overcharge. That's why I did the Bedini charger first, then I did this thing at a slow charge next. And it looks like it, I think in this case it did better than usual. But see, that's why it's worth a try, and it's worth getting the right stuff. You definitely want a desulfating type of trickle charger. You don't want a regular one. And the Bedini charger, you know, it doesn't always work, but it seems to do things that some of the other chargers won't do.